So who are you without your job, without a title, without doing certain things? Like really, if someone came up to you, you're at a gathering or a party and they're like, "Oh, who are you? What do you do?" When you look at that aspect and people start asking, "What do you do?" It's like they're putting you into a box of this defines you, this defines who you are. And I've found that for myself that I had no idea who I was without my job, without the title. When I left or took some time off from doing visual effects, I saw in myself that I had no worth, that my worth was tied into this identity of being a visual effects artist. So I was like, well, who am I without this title? Who is this person? And I was looking for everyone else's approval outside of me to define that. And so this title was, oh, everyone else's approval, they approve of that as a title, then I'm approved of. And so today I wanted to explore a different way of giving you your identity and a different way of giving you that worth where it's not coming from everyone else's approval or from the title. So thank you for joining me. I'm AmyC with You Finding You. I'm an intuitive and transformational coach, and currently you'll see in the dialog box below there's a freebie that you can snag up, which is a roadmap to success around redefining success. So similar in looking at, or what we're looking at in today's video, the roadmap and redefining success is looking at it not from a standpoint of I'm chasing after these titles and these things outside of me. It's actually redefining and seeing what lights you up on the inside. So again, do check that out. That's in the dialog box below. Also, years after I had that awareness of seeing that I was so tied into, my worth was so tied into my work, I also saw it in a different way where I was living in New Zealand and I was a foreigner in New Zealand. And so what I found is that I actually liked that title because I didn't have to fit into exactly the mold of being a Kiwi, of being a New Zealander. Like, if I was seen that way, I would feel the pressure of the society of I need to fit into their societal rules, where I didn't because I was different. I was a foreigner, and with my accent, I never was fitting in exactly. So I felt though that I then did not have to match exactly their societal rules. And which was a great freedom for me because I always wanted to fit in and be accepted. And so I wanted to always play by the rules and do what everyone wanted. But I found that because I had this now shifted title of a foreigner in New Zealand, I was still accepted. I was still okay because, oh, she doesn't know our exact rules of how we do things, but that's okay, she's learning, or whatever it is. So I share that because I always felt that I had to mold myself to fit into what others wanted, to look at what all of the people outside of me believed or wanted, and then I needed to shape shift and fit into that, become a chameleon of like, oh, this is how I need to be around these people. And that then defined my worth, and that then defined who I was. So, looking at this as your identity as well as your worth, like it's all tied in together, at least in this case, it's all tied in together of how we are seeing ourselves. And then are we putting ourselves in these different boxes? And like for myself, I was a visual effects artist. When I wasn't doing that work, I didn't know who I was. But I also then looked at leaving the industry and becoming a student and doing different work in this body kind of awareness and dance movement therapy background. And when I was looking at training in that, suddenly I was being labeled as like a university student or, someone that was a student. And for me, who had spent 20 plus years in visual effects and I'd worked my way up the ladder, became, a high level, if you want to call it, position, and then to be considered a student again was kind of like, that's not who I am. That does not define who I am. Yet somehow it was this label that I was getting defined as. So we can shift that. We don't have to become those labels. We don't have to get who we are based on by the outside world. We actually define it all from within us. And the way to define that is by connecting into our body wisdom, by connecting into this inner knowing within us and seeing what lights us up. So it's steps of becoming aware of what lights you up, what brings you joy, and then as well becoming aware of the things that don't. Like, oh, this actually makes me feel heavy. This doesn't bring me joy. I don't want this. And as you explore really what lights you up, it's like, this is a yes. This is who I am. This is who I'm being. And I don't need to become these labels outside of me to prove who I am to others, because I see my worth actually from within. I see what values, what lights me up, what actually brings me joy, and this is my worth. This is what I'm giving to the world. This is what I'm creating and being to others. And just being an example of it too. Like, people seeing that you're being a certain way and you present that way, others see that they can do it too. Like, it being an example of, you can have this too, or you can be this too. So when you begin to listen to this awareness, it's like building up a muscle. You start listening more and more, and you start to really find and define who you are from the inside, rather than from these labels, rather than from these things outside of you. So it's really stepping into and start listening to that inner voice. And as well, in the dialog box below, there is a current program that I am running with the school community, and it's the Body Wisdom Way. You can come in and join its courses and as well a community, but it's all about tapping into this inner knowing in you and starting to find your path, your way, your purpose, your meaning. And it all comes from within. It's not from these labels. It's not from having to mold and shape shift ourselves into that place. And it's about reclaiming that you, that one that is real, authentic, the one that is within you. Again, not listening to the things outside of you, not looking for the titles or the identity that is defined through what you are doing, but finding it from listening to those signals, the joy, the things that light you up from the inside. So I am curious to hear, do put in the comments below of what would you like to hear about body wisdom or intuition? Like, what things are you curious about, wanting to explore, wanting to learn for yourself? And thank you guys for joining me today. If you are enjoying getting value out of these videos, do hit that like, share, and subscribe. Thank you again. I'll see you in the next video.